deleted scenes of cringe that wasn't cringe enough to be super funny, but is also okay, and I didn't cut entirely. The deleted scenes, 30 minutes of deleted scenes, because that video was ungodly long, and it was still over an hour. Laugh at me.
It's story time.
Doesn't it bother Leroy McClellan that his boss is laying eggs all over his front yard? I mean, Easter is still 2 days away. Oh, people these days.
Random notes scrawled into the margins of my life, yes.
Cut off a foot and chop off an ear. Destitute daisies or radiant roots. The doorway leads nowhere, but be sure to take it.
Poems.
The bus ride home was long. We all had to tough it. Especially poor Jacob. He threw up in a bucket.
Dream journal. I was stabbing my leg because apparently that made fresh water. I had been reincarnated as a sea creature. I hear the thundering voice of a bokoblin, which apparently meant in dream logic that this creature was a behemoth intent on slaughter. I woke up. Wasn't about to die that way.
Original characters.
I hate it. I hate this. I don't like it. Oh, make it stop. Make it stop. Stop. Oh, make it stop. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Story time.
I wasn't singing that. I was the orchestra that was eating the banana, that was eating the potatoes, mother's cousin's potato salad, that was eating a cookie without my permission, that was eating another. Okay, we get it. Yes, thank you.
Poems.
The time has ticked, the clock has talked, and yet the one in my room hasn't because it's really old and only works half of the time.
Random notes scrawled in the margins of my life.
The whale was only ever a cover-up for what was to come next. Mwahaha! Sometimes the hero isn't always on the right side. Sometimes they're on the left.
Dream journal.
I was late for a shore excursion after being locked in a bathroom for 3 days by an oppressor. Apparently, this was a common occurrence.
The Gaiaphage appeared, and it looked like it had possessed the body of a cat, but with tentacles and teeth and light protruding from its body. I tried to crush it with my mind. It didn't work, but the Gaiaphage couldn't get through the sliding glass door.
My diary.
David is playing Donkey Kong. David can get to the 3 level in Donkey Kong. There is 99 levels in Donkey Kong. David can get up to the 4 level in Donkey Kong. Para Navidad, yo me dieron una máquina de karaoke y una y una gata. Yo es muy feliz. Y el tapa de la caja de arena chocó la cabeza de mi hermanito. Nathan got 2 star cards. Wow, Nathan. Good job, Nathan. Cuando mi maestra era niña, su mamá dijo, pone una inyección a tu perrito. Y señorita López dijo, no quiero. No. Luego señorita López ponía el vacuna en su perrito y el perrito de señorita López se puso loquita y señorita López dejó el vacuna en su perrito y la mamá de señorita López ponía el vacuna en su perrito rápido y quitó el vacuna muy rápido y el perrito de señorita López quedó calladito como nada estaba pasando. Nathan and me are in the car. Spy business. Today I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to my grandma's house.
Dream journal.
I used the teddy bear dumbbells to crawl around on the ceiling like Spider-Man. It was awesome. Then Emily told me to take a break because the teddy bears were getting kind of squished. So I did.
He had heard that they treat prisoners as humans here, and all he asked for was an avocado. They weren't going to give him an avocado.
Original characters.
What's that noise?
It's me, Monaira, remember?
Monaira! No, it can't be! It can't be! It is! Monaira!
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 Monaira! Monaira!
Poems.
I will follow where no one leads. Charismatic souls hold on to frustration.
It's story time.
You know, nobody really knows the past history of the Usakafu. One day, all of a sudden, there was a new empire, the Usakafu Empire. An empire which is mainly friendly, but on occasions will extinguish those who threaten him or his allies. The Usakafu have the belly button. The Usakafu's belly button is large and exceptionally spiky. They are green.
Random notes scrawled into the margins of my life, yes.
Wait until after worldwide first contact, why don't you? Golly, if you want to wake someone up, plug their nose. I tried eating questionable zebras, okay? So, are you writing down what I say? No?
Come to the tree!
Once you've heard the whisper, you can't survive long without finding its source. Where's the source? Is it here? It drives you mad. I must go to the tree. I must go to the tree. But I beg thee to flee. The tree, it's what has been haunting my sleep. Flee! Flee! The tree! It drives you mad. The tree! It calls to me. The tree! The tree! But I beg thee to flee! Don't follow me!
The rain keeps pouring, but my heart is snoring. The flames keep pouring, but my heart is snoring.
He turned into a child with a fake beard on. I didn't know how to take the beard off. I found myself swept up with the disbelief of children, police, news reporters, and cheese.
The announcer quickly called her to himself. Come here, hastily, hurriedly, and happily. When should I go? Before yesterday is over, exclaimed the witty announcer. Why are all these announcers so cruel, cunning, and crafty? After pensively and persistently persuading people to overthrow the announcer's annoying announcements, our little anemone finally found funny ways to freak him out.
My diary.
He looked at my cracked tooth, pulled out the cracked part, then told me to pinch my ear, and he pulled the whole thing out. So Anne, 10 seconds before the dismissal bell rang at school, the tooth that I could turn backwards and upside down finally fell out. The war had two sides. Mr. Maldonado was working the french fries and looked unhappy.
Dolphins don't do very well on land. So there I was, traveling the world. Why? Don't know, not a clue.
There is no longer any silence. I need to be alone.
There's always hope, even when there's no soap.
In the family of Oshkiram, this is what you do. Flipsham, what the girls do. And Rack, what the boys do.
I've got a lot of potatoes in my pants, yeah. I guess I should explain why I'm writing with my left hand. But I won't.
Dancing really funky, without a monkey.
Now this he/she/they/them is you. It's you. Have fun playing my board game. Side effects of this game include nausea, fits of laughter, uncontrollable coughing attacks, sneezing, leg cramps, wetting of the pants, a bit of frustration, more laughing, dizziness, snorting, nasal milk discharge, and howling with laughter. Please enjoy the game.
In order to speak of consciousness, we must not only be conscious, but be conscious of our unconsciousness, if indeed there is a consciousness.
Before I had to choose a part to act for an audition, and I did a much better job than everyone else, managing to impress the nuns in training.
I witnessed a girl vomiting through her hands and then copied her to show how it was done. It was not a pleasant sensation.
Sombra, alma de sueños, do de realidad. And he looked at it as if it were a toe-eating alien from yonder galaxy Glorklon. Laugh out loud? LOL. That's what I do. Radar enforced and a 0.5. Me, Emily, my cousin, and Mommy went ziplining through the trees on cables. Mommy was absolutely terrified. She didn't know how to use the brakes.
Whoa, that's fast.
Right. Ah, wow, my head really hurts right now. I'm looking at my shin right now, and it looks kind of like a purple triangle with a red flower in the middle. Anne, I'm back, but I'm almost ready to go to bed. Why don't you go get a hot fudge sundae, and I'll meet you in the bathroom. See you later. Well, I already told you to keep out of my diary, but you didn't listen, did you? Well, I'll just have to call the police. Cops! Police! Coppers! Arrest this unidentified reader! Scared you, didn't I? Fire, codes, gems, glory!
I was perfecting a dance routine with my partner for my drama final. Then the aliens came and demanded child sacrifice to quell their hunger. So we complied as much as we could. This one lady decided to chicken out of the ride. She turned into a donut and floated away on the water.
Beware, it'll poison our air, our groundwater, capable of manslaughter. All right, I'll admit that was a bit dramatic. Well, that's my poem. I can't think of anything that rhymes with poem. The end.
Sweetly, the meadowlarks bid me adieu. Secretly, the dead wish for morning's light, working toward an unenlightened goal. The path to Eldran is wide and vast. Crimson crossroads die on the field of destiny. One's beauty is another's repulsion. How can we ask these towers why they bend so?
Cold and refreshing drink pours right out of the sink. Go get a nice cold drink of water right now.
The fact that you have a chicken butt does not necessarily imply that one is a chicken. No. There are multiple beings in nature who unintentionally are met with the existence of a butt not entirely their own. No one is quite certain how these anomalies occur. It is very possible that one develops a chicken's butt due to an overconsumption of this particular animal. As the spirits of the slaughtered chickens increase in number, they rally together to curse the one who has consumed their flesh and the flesh of their brethren by causing a normal butt to develop into the butt of a chicken. The second most known theory relating to the creation of a chicken butt describes the phenomenon of a genetically altered butt resulting from one's incessant habit or necessity to sleep surrounded by chicken eggs. But a Scottish peasant known by history as Eggling Scotty, who was said to have had this happen to him after he was forced to camp out in a chicken coop for an entire month to avoid starvation. This occurred sometime in the mid-1500s, but has been passed down through legend to many different Irish pubs, even though the tale occurred in Scotland.
It's almost here. Have you ever eaten a deer?
He had a shawl on and he was jokingly threatening us. I took him to the window and showed him the row of vicious tigers we had at our disposal. Each had enormous rows of goofy teeth and googly eyes. We were in a kitchen when someone mentions finding a fetal kitten in a spice jar. The kitten was fine.
Mammy got frustrated. Why did I write Mammy? Brownie points, shouted I. I'm still not sure what brownie points are, but we say them regardless. Dear paper, you'll be my imaginary pen pal who never writes back to me. But I do wish that this may someday be published. Why? Why did I want that? Deep down, I know it never will be. Yes, of course! It's too sloppy and carefree to ever amount to anything. Yes, of course it is. And will someday let someone read these letters to you. But not for a very, very, very long time. Is 10 years good enough? The first thing my teacher said to me on my first day of school, on our first day of junior high, was, first of all, I have a spider bite on my big toe. It is swollen, and I am in pain. An embarrassing moment for me is... Bromskins come from Bromskinaville, and Vashingles come from Vashingleville. I want to be light. I want to be different. The kitchen appliance that I would be like would be a whisk, because I like the look of it and what it does.
These land shark people were much more collected than normal children. Eventually, the girl shark just started inflating a giant balloon while lying on the floor to try and float in the air to obtain that feeling of 3D living. I saw my dad getting a ginormous squirt gun out of the trunk of the car and start running towards the Soviets. I told him to stop. He stopped.
I don't know what it feels like to be cursed. Does it feel like dying? Because it might be that.
What do you think you're doing there, huh, Sonny? What's wrong with you? Just talk to me, it's not that hard. Another bystander carefully dodged Ernesto. Finally, Ginny held Ignacio. Just keep looking, Master Nathan, over Pete's quick rituals. Suddenly, tarantulas unearthed very wet xylophones yelling zebras.
La estrella egoísta tenía una lista llena de cosas muy asombrosas.
In the beginning, there was a room, bad guys, good guys, and a plane. The Black Scorpion leader ripped off the janitor's arms and threw them into the abyss of creation. In the other room that wasn't as important as the first room, Karen was a talking robot married to a man, and another man, now forgotten, married to a plane, although this plane couldn't talk. The astronauts arrived at Mars on the plane, piloted by the pilot, obviously. On a side note, Sam and Sam's brother existed in a play before the beginning of the beginning. During this time, a great migration took place from the original room to the most important room, which was in fact an island. The Black Stormtrooper led the people to the bases on the plane when they created the bases. The janitor was discovered in the abyss of creation. The janitor was given an armor piece to wear until his arms could be found. His arms were eventually found and returned, but he refused to give the armor back. The Black Stormtrooper, the Majestic Eagle, and Sam were chosen by the mystical beings to lead the people. So they did. Sam possibly was determined to be a girl at this point, because there were no other girls on the island, and the mystical being wanted there to be a girl character, but everyone thought he was a guy, so... ultimately, this led to him being the first trans character on Shabba-Locka-Ding-Dong Island. He was a war profiteer. A trans war profiteer.
Put some water on your head, lest you wish to be dead. What about Christmas? What other time do we celebrate by waking up early and eating candy out of our socks? Does Santa break an entry? No, we give him free cookies and lock the doors. Important news announcement. Alejandro's can hurt, but this nameless company can help.
The sand in the playground that we were standing in was filled with glass. The glass eyes of humans. Or statues, but either way it was super creepy.
I was the gorilla. I was able to catch up to some of the hunters, and I pounded them to the ground mercilessly with my gigantic gorilla arm muscles.
Then I got sorta hyper, and I was all like talking to peeps I don't know on the telephone. And I gave people messages, and they were all like, I love ya, I love ya, I love ya. Anne, there is one thing you ought to know about my summer camp. It's overrun with ladybugs. Have you ever swallowed a bug? I don't suggest that you do. Not the most pleasant feeling, especially if you're in PE and it's stuck in your throat so you can't stop coughing. What now, llama?
Crying and wailing and mourning, not realizing, not seeing, not hearing.
On the night of our very important meeting, I, Snowball, was busily arranging everyone into the perfect pose for our monthly photograph. But Cheeseball had something on his mind. Something that was bothering him. Just as the photographer snapped the picture, Cheeseball thought something very peculiar.
When we were taking our picture at our very important meeting, something was wrong. Someone was happy, too happy, and drooling for that matter. That's when I knew that there was a spy among us.
He was panting way too much.
To be a leaf, to die, to fall.
John was thinking this. I tried to act like Uncle Sam and got stuck. Those men. No pickles. Be calm and breathe. So long as you're human.
Cause when I had to fart, it turned into a shart. My daddy wasn't there, so I hugged my teddy bear. When my daddy came back, he saw my dirty crack. He just looked and laughed and threw me in the bath. Said I was a fool, that I'd never be cool. He left me in despair in my dirty underwear.
A lady then dumped the buckets on my head. I wasn't expecting it, and I was annoyed. And wet. Wet and annoyed.
Unfortunately, I realized that one of the leaders was deceitful, and he played a song which turned everyone's minds into those of velociraptors. Why? Don't know, not a clue. Dreams don't make sense. Stop trying to find the meaning amidst the whack.
Backgrounds into the desert of one mind, in which the llamas are always seem to call in sick, and the pandas are always forced to substitute for them because the llamas are too lazy to get out of bed in the morning and it is too cold, especially if there's a tornado brewing outside because those stupid llamas just don't want to face a tornado in the morning when everyone else has to go up and face a tornado because they have to provide for their families, and like a certain group of llamas who just let their family eat all the berries they find on the side of the road, which they shouldn't do because, first of all, the berries might be poisonous, and second of all, they aren't berries. They actually just belong to and second of all, they're not even wild berries. They actually belong to Mr. Milligan's berry farm. So technically, the llamas are stealing those berries, which they shouldn't do because both God and people say that you shouldn't steal. And when people agree with God on their own accord, it usually means that it's a pretty easy, common sense thing to realize because people are generally pretty stupid. And trust me, I should know because I am one. But thank goodness that I am a stupid person and not one of those darn lazy llamas.
I can't sing. I can't even ring.
One of these guys had sort of stretching power and it gave him incredible strength. However, he would freak out and start panicking when around uncovered collections of water. This character openly began panicking when I couldn't screw on the lid for my water bottle. We were distinguishing ourselves, as humans, from a race of invading alien bugs. The difference we discovered, to distinguish ourselves from these shapeshifters, was that the bugs could not for the life of them keep a rhythm, so we would hold massive synchronized dances to determine friend from foe.
Many stories I intend to do nothing more with but to let them sit in a file of memories until I scrounge through them and bring them back to life like some deranged zombie incarnation of content. What am I doing? What am I doing? Thousands of images and possibilities clouding out logical thought. I kind of like it.
We were supposed to carpool to Disneyland. My phone had no charge. The car had no gas. We stopped at a chicken farm, and Nathan started chopping chickens' heads off, and we weren't going to make it to Disneyland on time. The evil sorceress and her really ugly troll boyfriend came into an orphanage and first fed the orphans, who had dwindled to about the size of a hand, cheese so they wouldn't make a scene. They then went into a back room and started making out.
Possible hazards in the laboratory include A. Eating slugs, C. Aliens, and D. Falling down whenever you do field work. A. Work alone as much as possible. Or D. Wear no pants. If you spill something on your skin, B. Wash your hands. Or E. Call your mothership. E. Yeah, you got it. You're doing so good at the test.
One day Bob decided to go on an adventure in the snow. The snow was falling. Softer. Slowly. Then faster! Then softer and slower again. And the wind it blew, silent and true, as... Wait. Airplane! So, Bob was admiring, nature never tiring, full of beauty and musical silence. Just silence. And boom! Hunting season! Run!
A gorilla ate my math book. That's why I didn't do my math homework, because of the gorilla. You're probably thinking, how did a gorilla eat your math book? Well, I was playing Donkey Kong, and the gorillas came out and ate my math book. Oh, after they ate my math book, they went to my brother's room and ate my brother's book report. Oh, I am so busted. Then they went into my parents' room and ate my daddy's students' homework. Oh, I am so busted. A tiger ate my spelling homework. I am so busted. I'm not entirely sure how it happened, but before I knew it, I was busted.
He had left his heart and liver in the desert castle. He wouldn't survive much longer without them, so Bubblegum took her own heart and liver, each made of crystallized candy, and gave them to Finn. He was eating them, but he didn't chew. As they touched his mouth, they turned from candy into organs, and he swallowed them down.
An argument started between one straight guy and one gay guy about something, but both my grandma and myself were exasperated with him for not focusing on escaping this vault that we were all trapped inside of. Luckily, I guess, we were visited by George W. Bush, who looked around 90 years old, and I asked him to please raise awareness about our ordeal and to please help us escape. He promised he would, said some presidential things, and then left.
The big top collapsed, a tiger fell down, the smokers relapsed, yet no word from the clown. These silly rookies, said the bear out loud. They see a bear and just toss their cookies. After a few days, all was calmed down. But Bob sued for the craze because of the misleading clown.
There would never have been any superheroes at all if it hadn't been for chicken nuggets. Superman's mother fed him chicken nuggets the day he was born. Chicken nuggets do not always produce such rewarding after effects. In fact, they usually cause heart attacks and death. This happened to me once. It was very unfortunate, but I am okay with this now. I have moved on. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4! Oh, the audacity of the horrors of this world. The abomination that is the middle school era. Well, I suppose I am a stranger still. Or am I? Who am I? Mamas!
I have pie. Sometimes people lie.
I hate people.
They make you feel nervous and worthless and terrible when you're around them. Which is all the time. 2020 begs to differ. I've been tempted more than once to use LOL at the end of a sentence, but I don't yet want to let myself stoop to that level. LOL. Even I will likely never go back and read these entries. I need to prove to myself that I can do something, and that I can do it well, by my own standards, which aren't exactly low. Not exactly high, either. I can't for the life of me figure out the audio, but... Why is it so echoey? What? The shadow does not belong anywhere now, and holds no substance. Sans art. My amestris map just gave me a heart attack by falling off my wall and onto my head. Guess pride disagrees with my views of shadows. Or he simply couldn't stand my sorry attempt at an art joke. Sydney fears pigeons. Michaela enjoyed watching her fear. I apologize on behalf of my cookie for all of her bulimic and angsty ways.
Dream Journal.
It was a human body which had been taken over by a quippy, comical computer AI. Then, as we were on a submarine and having fun with our other inmate roommates below deck, Deborah begins to go into labor. There are bloody chunks everywhere, and she gives birth to a half-dead giant embryo, which was born far too early. I was supposed to somehow keep it alive. It terrified me so much. Had to keep quiet and out of sight because something terrible would happen if I ever finished my song. I found my sister, though, the one in captivity, and asked her if I should finish it, even if it would probably kill me. She said yes.
This tree must have been here for year after year after year, until becoming the giant of giants. Ow! One of its seeds dropped on my head! Ow!
Any refrigerator found with more than 5 dozen eggs in it will be thrown into the incinerator. The refrigerator's screams will persist for all eternity, torturing all those who hear its screeching cries for mercy. But there will be no mercy. Pie overlords will endow upon all their chickens the ability to withhold mercy from anyone they so choose. However, chickens are already merciless murdering fowls. Thus, the pies are overrated, because they cannot even bestow upon chickens a trait which they do not already possess.
The other kids say Mrs. Bobbin Blitzen moved away from grief when Mr. Bobbin Blitzen said goo goo gaga. She wasn't a very smart person, so that really upset her. Maybe I am not made to live. Maybe I am meant to count the moolah.
There's nothing in my head. My brain feels like lead. I think I might be dead. Oh, I need to go to bed. I'm just so tired, and my creativity is expired. If perchance I had been hired today, surely I would also be fired.
My mommy is crazy about Toontown, which is on the computer, so I have to type this on Daddy's laptop, just so you know. I knew you'd be here, I just knew it! Cried the little blue boy, hugging her intensely. All she could say was, crying for help. Help me, she said. Help, help. Like that. Very much like that. Rushing, help. Help me.
Eventually, we followed this kid to his house/monastery where monks were on the basement floor. They thought we were joining their religious order, but we politely declined. I wanted to get a postcard, but we had to smuggle this child out of the country with us. You know, to escape the zombie apocalypse. The zombies were saying,
"Oh, come on, man, just let me eat you,"
wearing fashionably impractical metallic boots. Unfortunately, some folk had been complaining about not having enough supplies for everyone, so they began pushing the elderly off the cliff to thin out numbers. Luckily, they all survived, but the bottom of said cliff was a tangled mess.
How can one rabbit change the world? It eats nuclear carrots.
So, I guess that's all. Not very tall. Next time will be a better try. Trust me, I'm not one to lie. Well, I guess this is goodbye, so bye.
Well, thank you for watching me doing cringe that was too cringe to actually be put in the cringe video. But, as you're doing, please make sure to subscribe and like and do all of the... Fortune truly helps those who are of good judgment. Oh no, I just dropped the fortune. I'm in a dark closet, and I just dropped the fortune before I thought of something funny to say. Where did it go? Oh, the shelves in my closet are slotted. Oh, okay. But I have recovered it. Fortune truly helps those who are of good judgment. Help me, Fortune, please. Am I good? Judge me well, Fortune. I need your help. I think that's good enough.